King Charles II is still alive despite a viral report claiming otherwise. The Russian media outlet's original report previously replicated correspondence from the palace, even including the monarch's official seal, as the monarch continues to receive treatment for cancer. Royal sources are claiming that preparations are being made in case the worst-case scenario happens. Speculation about his health is ramped up amid reports that the BBC is preparing for a major announcement regarding the royal family. According to the latest intel from insiders, Charles's funeral plans are being updated because reportedly its condition is much worse than the palace is letting the public believe it is. The plans have been dusted off and are actively being kept up to date. We saw Elizabeth EU shrinking in our television screens every week in her final years, but the palace boldly insisted that she was suffering from nothing worse than episodic mobility problems behind the scenes operation. Manet Bridge, the name for the king's funeral plans, is at the forefront of royals officials' minds. It sounds like those in charge of the funeral are hoping things will go as smoothly as it did for Queen Elizabeth's funeral in 2022, when the world said goodbye to the Queen's. Royal expert Brian Houke reveals all the nitty-gritty details of the monarch's state funeral 2 years since that historic day back at 11:00 a.m. The whole country and hundreds of millions of people around the world tuned into their televisions to watch the last farewell of the woman who had given them everything. The state funeral of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth was held at the majestic Westminster to pay tribute to her distinguished reign. Her coffin was laid out for the funeral from the evening of Wednesday, the 14th of September, to 6:30 a.m. on Monday, September 19th. When confronted with soundly sourced information by this reporter, the Queen was dying of bone cancer that she could barely see, hardly hear, and was periodically confused. They furiously refused to comment. However, the palace unofficially confirmed that the death had been from bone cancer. George the sixth death from lung cancer was kept so secret it even caught his own daughter by surprise. Indeed, some saying the king himself was not told how ill he was, which seemed to be taking secrecy a bit too far. After hundreds of thousands of people lined up in London to pay their respects, the farewell ceremony was over, and the funeral procession, as the ceremony began, was attended by almost all the world's famous leaders. They were also kings and queens of royal houses of Europe as well as from more distant countries. In accordance with the will of the late Queen, among the parishioners also present were Knights of George Cross and the Cross of Victoria. At the ceremony, there were almost 200 people celebrated in honor of the Queen. At the end of the service, the melody of the last post was played, and 2 minutes of silence were observed not only in the Abbey, but throughout the United Kingdom. The Queen's funeral went like clockwork. Set a high bar. The person said it's an emotional thing. It's a job, one taken very seriously, and understandably, no one plans to get caught out. King Charles is now expected to skip the annual COP climate conference in Erin later this year, and a source claimed Queen Camilla is happy her husband is taking on a reduced workload as he battles cancer. According to a friend, Camilla will be pleased he's not going straight off to Iran. She particularly didn't want him to go to Australia, and she will be encouraging him to take it easy once he gets back. Never an easy task. She wants him to slow down. She's afraid he's working too hard. And that's before you even get the Australia tour, they told an outlet. Hopefully, it's a sign that he's truly feeling better.